Okay, we are beginning the 11th Midah. There's only 13. So we should be almost perfect by now.
Almost terrifying. Almost terrifying.
The 11th Midah is Chesed LaAvraham. We spoke about it, but I want to share with you an omek, which I think is very relevant. But remember the pasuk, and this is probably the most famous part of the well-known part of the pasuk of Micha, Titein emes Yaakov Chesed LaAvraham. Quoted a lot, this part of the pasuk. So Titein emes Yaakov, we learned, let me just remind you in a sentence that we discussed the word Yosher. And Yosher, very important to explain, does not mean straight, but Yosher means Derech HaMitzua, the Kav HaYosher that goes from Keser through Midas HaTiferes, Midas HaYisod, and Midas HaMalchus. And this is a very important thing because it's not just talking about straight, we're talking about the emes, the Yosher of Yaakov, that he didn't go Lifnei Mishur Sadin. Is not that he was just playing on the edge with the halacha, but in his whole hanhaga was a combination of Chesed and Gevura. Hence Tiferes Yisrael. You had a good horror from Pirkei Avos, which is actually something I said in the past, in the Pirkei Avos here, that Ezu Derech Yeshara Sheyivar Loi Ha'adam. What's Yosher, right? Kol shehi Tiferes Lo Hisev Tiferes Lo Min Ha'adam. So you see that Yosher and Tiferes is the same thing. So Yosher Vasisa HaYosher V'Hatov does not mean, it would be shallow to say that means just go straight, be Yosher. There's something to that also. Just be glatt. Halavai. It would just be glatt. But the shot in the Yosher, the deep shot in Yosher is that you should always, a person should always be a combination of Chesed and Gevura. Tiferes. The way that plays itself out. The way that plays itself out is to understand that there's emes and then there's real emes. Emes is Tiferes, and the deeper emes is not just are you telling the truth or are you lying, which is the normal shot in emes, truth, but there's truthfulness, honesty, to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. There's three dinim here: Avraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov. The truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth. In opposite seder, actually. But the truth is to take into not just about what you're saying, am I technically saying emes or not, but there's a bigger emes that's involved. When Yaakov told his father, Am Esav, so on the surface that was a lie, but on a deep level it was very, very much the truth. I am the Bechor. That it is important that I get the bracha. And there was like a greater truth there, which is the Titein emes Yaakov. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu judges us. He's judging us. There's such a thing as an Aver Lishma by our Maisim for sure, but also by the Kavanah of the Maisim and what's going on when we're judging other people. When we're judging other people, it should be like we should be mishpat. Mishpat's also emes. Tzedakah is also emes. But tzedek tishbait es amisecha. So tzedek means to take into consideration the whole backdrop, the whole reka, the background of the person's actions.
But does it change any the bad? If that action is a bad action, even though it was created, does it change or take away the bad that was created by that action?
Yeah, because like the example I gave was two people driving at 100 miles an hour. One's there to save a life, one's there to kill a life. So even though they're bad actions, it's dangerous and reckless to drive at 100 miles an hour, but the judge has to look at it differently. If I'm going because this guy's bleeding to death in the back seat, that's why I'm going so fast, to another guy who's trying to show off for his girlfriend. So they're both doing the same Maisa, that's emes. They're both doing the same Maisa. Look, this is the Maisa we just did. But the Titein emes Yaakov, when you take a Tiferes and you start putting some Chesed into this ingredient, you say, well, why did you do that? What was your motive? What was going on? And does it change it? I would imagine it does. I would imagine it would change the penalty even in a Basar V'Dam court. Understanding where the person is coming from. So that was Titein emes Yaakov. We spent a long time understanding that. Then you have the Chesed LaAvraham. So now, one of the things that I asked last on Thursday was, Why is the order reversed? It should, Avram chronologically came before Yaakov. So teaching Emes Yaakov, Chesed Avram, it should really be teaching Chesed Avram, Emes Yaakov. We also asked the word, what happened to Yitzchak? Where did he fall out of the trifecta here? These are our Avos. So here we have Chesed Avram. So says the Tomer Devorah, I just learned simple pshat, and then I want to try to learn real pshat. Haim, what's Chesed Avram? What's he talking about? Hashem does Chesed for Avram. Haim, who's that Avram? Hamisnagim ba'olam lifnim mishuras hadin kavram avinu. Sounds simple enough. That some people go in shuras hadin, they do what they're supposed to do, and some people go beyond the letter of the law. Lifnim mishuras hadin. So therefore, Gam HaKadosh Baruch Hu misnagim imahem lifnim mishuras hadin. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu will also go beyond the letter of the law. It sounds kind of strange. I think that in other words, if I'm very machmir, right, I only eat badatz, I go lifnim mishuras hadin, so therefore what? Hashem is going to do what? He's going to go easier on me when I mess up on something because I go lifnim mishuras hadin. If I go with chesed, in other words, I'm opening up my tent. Avraham Avinu was famous for his hospitality. He lived for a while in the very dry, arid desert. It was very hot. There was no shelter. He built a tent. He opened Eshel Avram. He made a tent. He made a Beis Achnasas Zarachim. Opened it up from all four sides. That means no boundaries. So if he had no boundaries, so HaKadosh Baruch Hu was going to take away his boundaries. How does this work? In other words, the simple pshat, when you read this quickly, is that there's a midah keneged midah. It's like you do chesed, Hashem will do chesed, but it doesn't.
Dafka in din.
Huh?
Dafka in din, not in kashrus. Dafka in din.
Okay. Well, so what would be your example? If I'm so if I'm easy on somebody, so HaKadosh Baruch Hu will be easy on me.
That's what we're taught.
Hmm?
That's what we're taught.
Yeah. Okay. So Einoi Mamid Imahem Hadin Al Takvai. HaKadosh Baruch Hu doesn't. That's a Russian. Einoi Mamid Imahem Hadin. That's an interesting thing to translate, isn't it? Mamid Imahem Hadin. That should be Alehem. His relationship, what I mean, Imahem is talking about a relationship. His relationship with us is not a din relationship. Is it possible to have a different, we hear people say this, have a relationship with Hashem? Is it possible to have your own relationship with HaKadosh Baruch Hu? So here it seems to say, that if a person is doing a lot of chesed, you can expect HaKadosh Baruch Hu to do extra chesed for you. And here, by the way, just the words, if you don't understand what we learned last week, it's impossible to understand these words, so just skip it. Einoi ma'amid imam madin al takvai af loy b'derech hayosher. He doesn't even go with yosher. What does it mean? Because yosher, we learned last week, means, as I said at the beginning, not just straight, but yosher is that you have Avraham, that's on the Yamin. Benyamin. You have Yitzchak, which is Din. And then you have Yosher, which is Tiferes, which is talking about the Kav HaYosher. So you would say, well, if I'm working in the sphere of Avram Avinu, that's my type. I'm working like Avram Avinu. I'm always doing Chesed. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu is not going to go with Din with you. He's not going to. If you're working on the right side, he's not going to take it from the left side. V'aflo b'derech HaYosher. And he's not, now Yosher makes sense here. And he's not even going to go with you like Yaakov Avinu, which is a Tiferes of Din and Chesed. No, not even that. All Chesed. With me? So you have a Segel here. So now the Yosher has a huge mashmos, because in the Segel, not only is he not going to go Din, but he's not going to go Yosher. Read Tiferes. Combination. It's not even going to be a combination of Chesed and Din. It's going to be just plain Chesed. So Yosher here has a deep mashmos. And that's why he says, Af, not only is he not going to go with you and Din, Af, lo, and he's not even going to go b'derech HaYosher. No Yosher for me, because I'm an Avram person. Elo, what then? Nichnas imohem lifnim min HaYosher, kemo shehem misnahagim. He's going to go with us lifnim mina hayosher, which is to the side of Chesed, Mosheim misnahagim. V'hainu Chesed la'Avram HaKadosh Baruch Hu misnahag b'midas ha'Chesed imoisem shehem k'may Avram b'hanhagasam. Now, I just want to posit the following. Is this, here's the shaila, is this all about midah keneged midah? Like you said, that's what we all know. Midah keneged midah, you do chesed, HaKadosh Baruch Hu does chesed with you, so be careful, do a lot of chesed, so HaKadosh Baruch Hu do chesed with you. That's a good pshat, pashut pshat. I think there's a deeper option here. And the deeper option is, there are certain, like midah keneged midah would mean like you worked on your chesed, so HaKadosh Baruch Hu is going to go with you in Chesed, right? You open up your house Friday night, and you open up your tent on four sides, HaKadosh Baruch Hu is going to go with you in Chesed. Or, there's a certain personality type, which is a Chesed personality. It's a certain type of person that doesn't have boundaries. Right? We all know such people. Some people are very, for lack of a better word, yekish. You know, they're working with... This is what they have a cheshbon for everything, and some people don't work with a cheshbon. It's not their type to work with a cheshbon. Is it a good thing? Is it a bad thing? We don't know.
They get in trouble a lot.
They get in trouble a lot, and as he said by Yaakov, they could even do damage. They can make trouble too. But we all know such people. We all know such people. There are people like. Forgive me for using a name, but I just between us and the other 400 people out loud. Just I was good friends like a million other people with Shlomo Carlebach. So just as an example that comes to mind, Ish Chesed. What do you mean Ish Chesed? Ish Chesed in the sense that you give him $1,000 because he did a concert, and he's broke 5 minutes later because he gave it to the first naughty that he saw. I saw it with my own eyes. Ish Chesed. Ish Chesed also did a lot of things wrong, but it's the clearly, and I'm using it as an example because it was clearly a personality type, meaning a good thing, I think, but it was clearly a certain kind of a very strong, where the tzad of Chesed of no boundaries, not the tzad of Chesed, he was a Baal Chesed. He was a Baal Chesed, but that's not what I'm talking about. That the tzad of Chesed was very, very strong, as opposed to the Briskerov, where the tzad of Din was very strong. It doesn't mean that he didn't keep Din of it, and he didn't do Chesed, but there was a very pronounced tzad of Chesed. So what I'm saying here is that it's not necessarily the way to be, but the pshat is it's a certain type of person. So since it's a certain type of person, so HaKadosh Baruch Hu cuts that person a little bit of slack and goes with him to be this Avram Avinu. I'm not saying that Avram Avinu was Shlomo Carlebach. That's not my point. My point is that there's a certain person that's working a lot with Gevulim, and there's a certain person that their type is not a Gevul person. They're not makbid on Zman. Shmuel, you know Shlomo, did he ever come on time? No. Not makbid on Zman, not makbid on Dinim. Did he ever hold a grudge? Not makbid. It was a certain type,
But you always wondered what chesed he was involved in, that he wasn't there.
Beseder, so like a rebbe, like that. There was. Again, we're not here to make a based on Shlomo Carlebach. I'm not just beyond me as Roshel, but I'm only saying that there was giving an example of somebody we all kind of like knew somehow. There's a bit of chesed. I remember I might have told the story before, but it was just like so. It was so defining in my own mind that years and years ago, I lived in Buffalo, so somebody, a Talmud of Rav Steinberg, came to visit from Yerushalayim, and an old bacher, about 50, and I made a shidduch with him with one of the Balei Tshuva at our Kabbalist Tshuva in the community, and they got married in Buffalo. Buffalo means Niagara Falls, because that's where all the hotels are and all the wedding hall. So Steinberg was in New York, so he actually came to be Masada Kedushin to Buffalo, to Niagara Falls to be Masada Kedushin. So Rav Steinberg was such that I picked him up at the airport, and he wasn't a schmoozer ever. Never schmoozed. He literally got in the car, so his Gemara was open, and he was learning Gemara. So I remember starting to talk to him after the initial politeness and hello, and this, and I was starting to schmooze with him a little bit. And I remember the passenger seat saying, Rabbi Yaacov, I'm sorry, I almost can't hear in my left ear. So I'm not doing well in this conversation. So I was quite. I remember like a number of years later, I was in Australia. So over there, he's sitting the other way around. And I got him. And I remember him saying, "I can forgive me. I always can't hear in my right ear." Anyways, we came to towards Niagara Falls. There's a big sign that says, with the big arrows, says, the falls, if you want to see the falls, So I didn't know, should I ask him if he wants to see Niagara Falls? Should I not ask him? I didn't know, what was the right thing to do. He was learning Gemara the whole time. So the Sechtanita, would have asked Niagara Falls. So I said to him, would the Rosh Yeshiva like to see Niagara Falls? I could ask, right? I said aloud. So he said, it was funny because he used the local vernacular. Oh, I'd love to see the falls. The falls, only in Buffalo you call it the falls, So I took him to Niagara Falls. The Rebbitzin was in the Carol, the Rebbitzin, and I took him to the falls, and the Rebbitzin is saying, Chaim, you have to make a bracha. What bracha should we make? What's the bracha here? It's unbelievable, So he said, what bracha? What's going on here? Nothing is going on. He didn't see any. So he says it's a nes. So he says a nes is when water goes from a low place to a high place. Water's going from a high place to a low place. Isn't that as a normal? What's it supposed to do? The water is going up and going down. Okay, it's not a fault. He asked me, he says, why does everyone make such a big deal about it? Wassergate, they're up a bar. He didn't see what the Milo was, So I explained to him all the electricity of Ontario and New York State's coming from this, Okay, that already touched him a little bit, but no bracha. So that was a Bais. I think it was 2 weeks later, and the exact same story, taking Shlomo Carlebach in the car. So surprisingly, he had actually never seen. There's a man who's been everywhere. He saw every neighborhood in Romania, but he somehow didn't see the falls. So he goes, I got to get my, just take his guitar from the car. So it wasn't just like, ba, 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 ro. What a bracha on the falls. So what's the shot here? Two shitas in halacha? Two personalities? Two... It's like there's Tita Nebas Liyaakov, Chesed Lavra. It was it's two different types. I think it's two different types of people. So when we're talking here, we're not talking about the Midah Keneged Midah, that the Yeshiva should Midah Keneged Midah of Avram. You did Chesed, so I'm going to do Chesed. I think we're talking about Chesed of the Maisim that a person does. We're talking about a certain type of person, which is a Chesed personality.
Does that mean to say, Rabbi, that if you have the other person who's more midas adin, like the more brisker Rav type, not to categorize, and he stresses himself to do with Chesed, that the other guy the other personality could have easily done. What do you mean?
I don't think.
Does he get more schar?
Of course, no. That's where Midah Keneged Midah comes in. Midah Keneged Midah is the brisker Rav. I'm not saying the brisker Rav probably was a huge Baal Chesed. Right. I'm just saying we'll take that example because I said it. The brisker Rav who was a very shuras hadin. Let's put it that way, And Lifnim Shuras hadin lahachmir, but he certainly knew boundaries. He certainly had his clear boundaries. In other words, the brisker Rav, the Chazon Ish, these people, they never went to sleep a minute earlier than they did the rest of this is how much sleep I need for Zehu. I was once reading something for the Chazon Ish where he slept whatever it was 6 hours, then he saw what was it like to sleep 5 hours and 50 minutes, and then he got up to 5 minutes and 5 hours and 45. No, I could go 47. Until he figured out exactly. I don't know if it was 5:47 or 4:47. He figured out to the moment, to the second, how much. There was no such thing as going to sleep early. I'm going to sleep early today. No such thing getting up late today. Well, it was completely did. And I'm saying another type of a person. That's a beautiful thing. So when he's doing Chesed, he's being Yotzei Megidra Avada. There's a Midah Keneged Midah for that person. But here, I'm not talking about that sort of like religious Midah Keneged Midah. I'm talking about a personality type. A midah of Chesed, a Chesedic person. Chesedic person might not be a Milo. In case of Avram Avinu, it wasn't a Milo. Shoot me now. Because he needed a Yitzchak. you see that Avram Avinu unto itself needed Yitzchak and needed Yaakov. In fact, the whole Akedas Yitzchak was because Avram Avinu needed some Yitzchak in him, and Yitzchak needed some Avram in him. That was Akedah, that was the bonding. That was exactly what was going on there. Like, I need to do a little bit more din, some gevura here, and Yitzchak, in order for you to continue the people, you need a little bit more chesed, and then Yaakov was Tiberis, was mixing the two midos together. So we're not, even Avram Avinu was a chesed. So I'm not talking about necessarily a Baila, but what we are saying here is, and this is the chap, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu looks not only at what you're doing, and not only, like we said last week, at the greater MS, but this is a different midah over here. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is looking at the type, personality type. So if you're a personality type of chesed, HaKadosh Baruch Hu is flexible enough, Kavyachol, to also work on the derech of chesed. So in order for HaKadosh Baruch Hu to understand this person, HaKadosh Baruch Hu has to Kavyachol, I'm just saying as a mashal, has to be Yotzei Begidra and Yotzei B'Adin. This is the pshat that HaKadosh Baruch Hu wanted to create the world with Midas Adin, Rosh Eino El B'Skayim. How can it not go both Midas Adin? Midas Adin, that's the way it should be. Midas Adin doesn't mean strict judgment, everyone's going to get, patched. The pshat is that it's not Shaykh Midas Adin, because he sees that he created people, and Shaykh to the sun doesn't change. Baruch Hashem, if that changes, we're in trouble. Like the chart's the same chart as of what Netzach Haba was as 5,000 years ago, or 3,000 years ago, or 200 years ago. So it doesn't change. But people change. People, the way he created a person was with the Yetzer Hara and the Yetzer Tov. It's complicated. Like, it's complicated. Every person is different. Parts is fame. Every person is different. So because Baruch Hu said, the world is not going to be Miskayim with Midas Hadid. It's not going to work. So let's cut a little slack here. It goes Midas Harachamim. So it doesn't mean he's easy on us. It means that HaKadosh Baruch Hu can somehow or another, this is a mature thought, because we've got to be careful not to, can walk into that flexibility of no boundaries if we're in that place of no boundaries, if that's what we are. Not talking about lazy, we're talking about that's what we are. Right, that's what we are, just overflowing with Ava and with Chesed and with, and therefore no boundaries. There's also saying, I love you even though you're ugly. I love you even though you're like, this is like this Baal Shem Tov type of idea. Like, the uglier you are, the more I love you. The Talmidim of the Baal Shem Tov that were like really lamdanim and tzadikim, they used to, this is what they say, I heard this from Rav Ginsburg, they used to pull for the Baal Shem Tov's attention. He didn't like them as much as he liked the thieves. Like there was a certain grudginess that he liked, apparently, a certain like ava that he had for Dafka Yotzei Mina. So I think that's part of what Chassid is Chassid. Chassid. Ezu Chassid ha mischased im koidai. Mischased im koidai. Like such an interesting logic.
It's a little bit what the Ishbitzer said a few weeks ago. The dream.
Talk about no Gedar.
Yosef was struggled with why his brother kept getting away with everything. Yehuda would stumble into all kinds of problems, and he would go bite them. And he would make one little mistake and get thrown into jail for his life. And so the Ishbitzer says that was the dream of the baker and the butler. That the baker, he was sifting and sifting and sifting to get everything. He was trying to be so megdaktik and so midas adin that the person like that, if there's a pebble there, you're held accountable because that's your derech. And Yehuda, he gave the wine, he checked the wine, and okay, you can't control the world. The fly's going to go in there. What do you want from me?
Well, not only that, wine has been Messias, Yotzei Min HaGeder. That's the Messias of wine. Right. So it's very geschmack, but it's also, I mentioned last week that the Sar HaOifim,
is that the baker and the...
Sar HaOifim was the head of Af. There was Af and Cheba. Af and Cheba, there's two different Malachi Chavola. The Sar HaOifim was in charge of the Af, part of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, so everything was Midas Hadid. Af is Midas Hadid, right? Appa b'hargu ish. Or Appa b'kiyaz. So you see that's so what I'm introducing here is very subtle, but I think it's extremely important. And that is that there's the Chesed that we do in the Baisa, then there's the Ish Chesed, the Chassid, the person who has a certain. But the downside of that is that there's no din. There might not be any boundaries, or the boundaries might be weak. So there's like you're noita liyamin. What does HaKadosh Baruch Hu do with that? So he says HaKadosh Baruch Hu, now look at the words, and see how beautiful. Eloi babid ibohem hadid. When he stands with them, sometimes, if I could give a mashal to a basar v'dam, like sometimes when you're with a certain person and you act a certain way, you're a different type of person, you act a different way. Isn't it true? Like sometimes you're with a person who's like very din, so you get very din-like. Sometimes you're with a person with like very chesed. It's okay, you're joking, happy. Like this is not bad. That's not bad. Like a lot of times we mirror the personality. So here's HaKadosh Baruch Hu mirroring Hashem tzilcha hayad minacha einoi mamid imohem hadin. He doesn't stand with them in din. We're standing in a different place now. We're in a different corner of the room. Al Tukfai. And not only that, Afloi B'derech HaYosher. And he's not even going, forget about Din Yitzchak, he's not even going with Yaakov, who's called Yosher. He's called Yosher because Kava Yosher. So, right? He's not even going with Yosher. Okay, well, I'll mix some chesed into the din and we'll get Tiferes. No. I'm standing with you. I'm completely chesed. So that's the imahem with them. Not he doesn't judge him. He doesn't stand with them. So, look, so all of us that are very din-like, need to get a little bit of tiferes here, chesed. And, so I think that's the klal. Like, if you're too chesedic, you got to work on your boundaries. Everyone's wondering, like, what am I supposed to work on in life? This is the yesod. It's not about being more careful of this halacha, that halacha. Also true. But I think if you want to get, like, really deep down to yesod, if you're a person without any boundaries, so you got to get some boundaries in your life. If you're a person with too many boundaries, also need to get a little bit of chesed in your life and get to tiferes. And let's say I'm not there. Let's say I'm kulei Avram. I just never got out of the Avram thing. Agav. It's not politically correct these days to say anything good about Yishmael, but B'chol like Yishmael, you see Avram Avinu liked Yishmael. It's interesting. Sarah didn't like Avram, right? Lu yichya b'nei lefanach. No way. Get rid of Yishmael. But Avram Avinu liked Yishmael. I'm happy with Yishmael. He said, I don't need a Yitzchak. I'm an old man. I don't need Yitzchak. I don't need to have another child. I'm happy with Yishmael. What's to be happy with Yishmael? The answer is Yishmael was para Adam. So that's right there in the pasuk. Who para Adam? Maza para Adam. What does it mean? Like I think the English says a wild ass. How do you get that in para Adam exactly? I don't know. But para is a lotion of, like, whenever you see peresh, like parach, pri, paratz, so no gather. Pru. Pruvu. Spreading. Para Adam was a person without boundaries. That's the correct definition of Yishmael para Adam. Sarah said this is not going to work. We can't make a people out of this. Avram Avinu ish chesed, completely ish chesed. He had a different type of understanding of Yishmael. Look at Yishmael. I mean, I'm saying you look at Yishmael, the midas Yishmael even today. There's certainly not balei chesed in the, maybe they are, I don't know, but they're not balei chesed in the way we talk about chesed, but they're bli gvul. Got to blow myself up. I'll blow myself up. Ain't baya. Kill other people. Ain't baya. No problem. Nothing is a problem by them. Nothing. You jump out of a plane, blow a plane. There's nothing. This is para Adam. This is mamish the midah of para Adam. There are the normal gvulim that people just don't do. Like, you just don't cut people's heads off. You just don't do it. Somehow or another, a para Adam can do that. On the other hand, Allah Akbar. It's a very interesting Yishmael where Sarah said this is not going to fly. But that's called the chesed, not in the sense of kindness, but chesed in the sense of no boundaries. And to do that with boundaries is a very difficult thing. If I kill myself now, I'll kiddush Hashem, then I'm going to come late for davening. Is that going to work?
Yitzhak was the complete antithesis. He was completely measured.
And he's not even brought here. He's not even brought here. The Zohar says, what happened to Yitzchak? Before the Zohar, leave it for the Goyim. The Zohar says. Like it's not even, we don't even want to mention din. That's why Yitzchak is so quiet in the Torah. We don't even want to mention din There's no story. Parshas about Avram Avinu, and Parshas about Yaakov, and Yitzchak. What do we know? A couple of things about a bear, and about the brachos. That's all. We don't know much about Yitzchak. He was blind. But it's, the famous story that Rav Breuer said. Rav Breuer was the Rav of the German community in New York. He told his wife he's going to be late home from davening today because we say the same Talamot of the bracha. So it's like
He married the right woman.
She was able to tolerate it. It had to be Isha Chasida, okay? All right, so that's the Nakuda. So, V'hainu Chesed Avram. So this is the deep shot. In Chesed Avram, HaKadosh Baruch Hu misnai b'midas Chesed imoisem shehem k'moy Avram b'hanhagasam. B'midas Chesed means that HaKadosh Baruch Hu Kivyachol mirrors our type, our personality type. Our personality. If we're let me say it one more time. If we're too much din, you got to get out of that space. That's not a good space to be in because then HaKadosh Baruch Hu, okay, this is the way you. So it's maybe at omek and midas hadin. If you're too much chesed, you got to get out of that space too because it could be very chaotic to have no din in your life. But there are certain natiyas that we have, and every one of us has a different derech to go. You say, I want to just be masber or something. The Gemara says, the brachas, maybe chafal of grace. The Gemara says that the Malachim said to HaKadosh Baruch Hu that Lo Yisa Panim Badin, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu, you said in the Torah that Dayanim shouldn't be Yisa Panim Badin. What does that mean? It means you shouldn't look at an ani and say, Rachmanas on him, let me be no to the din. Din is din. Din is din. Your job is din, so Lo Yisa Panim Badin. Okay, but it does say B'tzedek Tishboi Tazamisecha. That's not the Gemara's answer. It does say B'tzedek Tishboi Tazamisecha, and Tzedek is a little bit different than din. So the answer is, says the pasuk a little bit further, V'asisa hayashar v'hatoy. Don't be no to the din. Don't be yisa upon him badin. But yosher is okay. In other words, don't work with Avram Avinu here, and don't work with Yitzchak. But work with Yosher, Vasisa Yosher V'atov, but don't go too far and say, well, she's an almana, I'm going to paskin in her favor. Never, because din is din. A person has a right, the other side has a right to a din. So L'yisapanim din. Amr Malachi Ashar Zivnei HaKadosh Baruch Hu, L'yisapanim badin, you say, and you're supposed to, practice what you preach. So why do you say Yisa Hashem Panav Elecha V'yasem L'cha Sholem? Arei Atano Yisei Panim badin. That's the Gemara says. The Malachim asked this question. So the answer is Amar HaKadosh Baruch Hu, so Hashem says, if I'm quoting correctly, Amar HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that's a good cast of Malachim. Right? Amar HaKadosh Baruch Hu, he says, what do you mean? I say a mitzvah v'yachalta v'savata uveirachta, that if you eat and you feel satisfied and you're going to burst out a bracha. V'heim mevarchin afilu al kazayis. And they make a bracha and they eat a kazayis. Okay, who eats a kazayis and feels, which is a chiddush halacha, even though you don't have svia, you're allowed to make a bracha on a kazayis. A huge chiddush in halacha. It's connected to Torah. So eich lo yes upon him bedin. Look what they do. How could I not be yes upon him bedin? Isn't it so interesting of all the different examples that could have brought? Look, Rabbi Kiva was willing to die or died for Yiddishkeit. So many examples that Kadosh Baruch Hu could have used to disprove the Malachim, but for some reason he chooses this thing that look, they took upon themselves to make a bracha, to bench on a kazayis. In the Yerushalmi, by the way, it says Agav, same Shakla, but it doesn't bring the example it brings the example of Reb Zera, that B'nai Yisrael hichmiru al atzman by dam nita, that afilu al gris, afilu tibas dam kechar, which is not the halacha. They were machmer on themselves. Afilu tam, the two chumras. One is that if there is zava they'll consider themselves a nita, and the other one is tipas dam kechardel. So ve'eich lo yes upon him badin. So how can I not be yes upon him badin? So again, let's get this clear. The kasha was Kadosh Baruch Hu, you're showing like a favoritism. Yisa Hashem panav lecha v'yasein lecha shalom. Kadosh Baruch Hu gives us such bracha, and you tell us not to show favoritism. So what does he say? Well, look, they mensch, on a kazayis. How does that answer the question? What is the teretz of the Gemara here? How can I not show favoritism? But he's showing favoritism. It comes at the end, it's like a judge would say. Imagine a judge would say he's pasquini, and he obviously shows favoritism to this tzad. So he said, well, you're showing favoritism to him. Yeah, well, how could I not? He polishes my shoes twice a week. He's my nephew. That's exactly. But the what you're not allowed to do. So what's the teretz of the Gemara? You should disqualify yourself.
But it's not the same, because here it's something like Akash Baruch has given us to do, and we've taken on ourselves, like in a sense of voluntary sense, to expand. Because we've had the thing like polishing the shoes. Just he polishes my shoes. It's not.
What if he took it on himself?
But it's not a command to him like every day to polish my shoes. If let's say, or once a week, he has to polish my shoes and he does it every day, so it's like he's expanding on what I gave him.
Okay. So meaning what? So therefore I'm not showing favoritism, but
and that is recognizing, I think, like Hakar.
Since he expanded the din.
Oh, okay.
No, Hakar stuff doesn't fit into a Mishnah.
Okay, so
you have to say what? Just like he expanded the din.
So I should also.
I'll also eich loy as upon him, but then let's say better. So the pshat in saying it better is that it's not the pshat that I'm showing the Jews favoritism. I'm mirroring them. Look at the kind of people that they are. The kind of people that Klal Yisrael are. Thank God this is what HaKadosh Baruch Hu looks at. A certain type of a person that I'm telling you, they want to make a bracha so badly. They want to say thank you so badly that I'm telling them you don't have to. They say no, thank you anyway. No, it's very important. This is good. It's a chesedic thing that you don't have to. You don't have to. Don't thank me. I hardly ate anything. Yeah, what you eat at kazayas, like you do kazayas, this is what you get. Like this is like the mint that you get when you walk out of the fancy restaurant. It's free. It doesn't cost anything. But so what are you making a bracha for? No, we're makabel on ourselves to say thank you for everything. So there's a certain chesedic personality over there. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu is saying, not that I'm going to show them favoritism. It's not favoritism. This is their Weltala. This is the world that they're in. The Klal Yisrael's in a certain world, so that puts me in a different frame. It puts me in a different place, and therefore I'm as upon him badin. So it's not favoritism. I'm just that's like it's like in the boxing. Either you're a lightweight or you're a heavyweight. That's the way the match goes. It's a whole. It's the same game, but you just push the thing down further. It's the same game, but this is a lightweight championship. This is a heavyweight championship. So it's not a b'diavad. It does. Like that's different. It's a different thing. A lightweight fight, right? All right. Well, I'm not bar around this.
Can we just say that's din? In other words, if they're acting.
But that's din. That is saying, but it's a din of it's not yisap on him, but din. Exactly right. Exactly what I'm saying. So the Titain Emes Liakov, in that Emes Liakov comes out of Chesed Lavram. The Chesed Lavram is a din, but it's different than Mida Keneged Mida. It's the type they are. For you, this is the din. For you, if a kid is not academically up to par, the brain doesn't work. It's a different din. The din is different. Your level of accomplishment.
And that's why it's in the order it's in.
That's why it's in the order that it's in. So and the lashon is something to it. Einon elanichnas imayim lifnim min hayosher. Lifnim min hayosher. K'moy shehem misnag. Imayinu chesel Avram. HaKadosh Baruch Hu misnag min chesed moisim shem k'moy Avram b'hanagasim. So what about us? Let's just finish with us. Gam ha'adam im hayosh im kol adam yeh misnag b'tzedek u'b'yosher v'mishpat. The normal behavior for us is to go, here's the words. Tzedek, Yosher, Mishpat, 3 synonyms, all meaning straight line. Tzedek, Yosher, Mishpat, if we had time to unravel, I would show you, is Tiferes, Yesod, Malchus. It's a Yosher, straight line down the middle. That's what it is. So that's a normal way of Hanhaga. The normal way of Hanhaga is the Yaakov Avinu Tiferes Yisrael. Im hayosh, im kol adam yem isnai b'tzedek, u'b'yosher, u'b'mishpat, on the straight line, a little bit of chesed and a little bit of din. That's the cake here we're baking. Ima toivim b'chasidim, but nevertheless, ima toivim b'chasidim tiyan hagasa lifnim mishur hadin. Chasidim, what a lashon, chasidim, toivim. There's a certain type of person which is, this is for us now, we're not talking about Hashem. You encounter somebody who, that's their nature. Their nature is their toiv, their chassid. They don't have boundaries, to a fault.
Expansive, but
to a fault. So if they don't have boundaries, I always mention, Rav Tzaddik says that if you want to get tzedakah from somebody, go to a Baal Taiva. You would think for a character, right? The Baal Taiva wants everything for himself. No, Baal Taiva doesn't know boundaries. Now, it doesn't mean we should all aspire to be Balei Taiva. We should aspire to be Balei Tzedakah. So sometimes when it comes, somebody asks you for tzedakah, you have to go a little bit out of the boundaries. Well, do you deserve this? Do I have this? No. A little bit out of that, right? A little bit, not too much. But so there's Yosher a little bit, and then some people are a lot out of that. Balei Tzedakah, they can't afford to be Balei Tzedakah. Is it good? Is it bad? I don't know. That's not what we're judging right now. But we're saying it's a Metzias. So since there's such a Metzias, it's not bad if it's not good if you're gonna end up being a Mitzarech Halabriyas, obviously. That's what the Gemara says. That don't take it to the point that you're gonna hurt other people. So our anhaga with that person is that they shouldn't be so annoying to us. Here's the thing, like when somebody, you find somebody who's annoying to you, why are they annoying? What is that annoyance? The annoyance is that they're different than the way you are noheg. So here's the thing, HaKadosh Baruch Hu mirrors himself to the person. He doesn't get annoyed at us. If you're a person with Gvul B'Seder, I can deal with that. If you're a person without Gvul, I can deal with that too. So what sometimes, when you understand that that's the personality type of the person, it's not that they're just doing something wrong. Their father was that way, the grandfather was that way, the great-grandfather, that's the way they are. That's the way they are, So the old Jews in Shul that I grew up with used to always, there's one guy used to scream all the time. Just scream no matter what, Baruchi! like everything was a scream, he screams. So I once said to another of the olds, he was the normal shot was, that's because he's Hungarian. that's what the Gilitzianics.
So it's a hearing problem.
Other shot was, he went through the camps, he's screaming. But there was a Chashiv Jew used to daven in the front. It was just I just love this man. His name was Labish Silverstein. He said, that's the way he is. I remember him saying, I said, what's he screaming about? He says, not screaming. Not screaming. I read talks loud. He's not screaming. That's not screaming. If you're talking like that, you're screaming. He's not screaming like that. All right, so there's such a such a thing. So the point is, it's not annoying. It's not scary. It's not intimidating. It's not hateful. If you understand that this is the way he is. That's the way he is. So now, once we know that that's the way he is, we can be noeg with that person differently. So this is where it means to be godlike. Now it means like this, we're always supposed to have a little bit of savlanut. These people require a lot of patience. Savlan, yoser, a lot of patience. So have the patience. Get it right into that with them. Go beyond what you would do with everybody.
It's talking to us?
Yeah, that's us.
The
second paragraph is
telling us how we should
react to annoying people. Do you know when in yeshiva? Just give you one more minute here. We had a rabbi in yeshiva. His name was Rav Tusky. Anybody ever hear of him? Chidushei Basra. He wrote probably 35 volumes. Son-in-law, yeah. I mean, wow, what a bidus hadin guy. I mean, this fellow was never spoke a word levatala. Never saw him say a word levatala. You could stand in front of him. The minhag was, if you want to ask him a question of learning, So you don't disturb him because it was a huge mosque, but all the time, 24 hours a day. And he would stand there and wait for him to pick up his head from his Gemara to
Take a breath.
you could stand there for sometimes a half an hour until he would pick up his head. It was such, and there was no bothering him, and there was no, and he was a person. I remember they used to bring him food, so like like a whole plate. He mixed it all together, like all the nutrition there, just eat it like this. And he wanted a little bit of salad, a little bit of eggs, all what so there was like an ani who used to come to the yeshiva and sit down at his table in front of him. I'd say 2-3 times a week. Sit there for 2 hours and talk. Just talk. Who knows what he was talking? Just and like didn't annoy him. Now, if I would have gone and talked even 2 words extra, so the shot is that there was somebody explained to me that he's not insulting you. He's complimenting you. Like you're not in that gender. Once you're in a gender of a person, this guy, who knows how he got to where he is, and why he's an ani, and why he's running around, and why he sit here with he was like he smelled bad, he looked bad, he's and he's sitting there and he's learning and he's answering him. So it was like there was a gender of like mirroring the person that you're with, and like for you, I don't have patience. For you, I do have patience. And that's the mita here, I think, of Chesed LaAvram. It was the Avram Avinu thing. Come in, no matter who you are. You're an Arab, you're an Avodah Zarah, coming from the right side, the right wing, the left wing, everything's open over here. Completely patuach. So those people have to be chashuv, ma'od ma'od, v'chavivim loy, v'heim yu me'anshe chavrasei. Let them be your friends, he ends up. Let them be your friends. This is good for you spiritually. There's no such thing as I don't have patience. Those that don't need patience, good. Those that need patience, have patience. You should count them amongst your chevra, because this has to be part of my social portfolio, is to have annoying people around you. Hashem made them. And this is good, and we're annoying to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, right? So we want to be recognized as such. Because Hashem, let's work on that till Thursday, and we can get to the 12th.
Today's for parenting. Today's for parenting also.
Parenting. Or husbanding.
I think an important application is we olim who continue to complain.
With what?
We olim who continually complain about the frustrating encounters. The Moroccan society, whatever it is.
It's the way it is.
Comes from somewhere.
Ilya, smart guy from Russia. Happens to be a Brady guy, right? All right, Jordan? Ilya, I was saying Ilya is like a very smart guy. So Ilya says to me, he's complaining. He made Aliyah, recently, so he's complaining about all the bureaucracy and this and that. So I said, yeah, it's terrible what you have to go through. He said, he says to me that Ben Gurion and the founders of the state, they all came from Poland, and the only government they knew to establish was the Polish government. We're looking at it now. If they would have come from America, they would have made it American. That's what we're stuck with here forever. So once he said that to me, okay, that's a good horror. Now I understand everything. Everything's okay. You're just in Poland in 1941. That's where we are here, 1933 Poland.
Yeah.